and today we are going to discuss the problems that are related to the dynamic analysis. In the last class, we have completed the problems related to the bar element, and now we are going to discuss the truss element problem, and the truss is belongs to the dynamic analysis. Let us try to see the problem, or the problem is stated like this. Find the natural frequency of the following truss element. So here the figure is given in the problem. So there are the two elements, element 1 and element 2. And this problem is belongs to the truss. And anyhow, we elaborately learn the uh, unit truss elements in the last previous units. Some of the concept can be useful here to solve the dynamic analysis of the truss element. So this problem is belongs to the dynamic analysis, and moreover this problem is belongs to the free vibration problem. So now we are going to use that free vibration undamped governing equation to solve this particular truss problem. In this one, the very simple problem is there. So with this simple problem, let us try to understanding the what is the methodology for the dynamic analysis of free vibration undamped governing equation that is related to the truss member. So here two members are there, element 1 and element 2. These two elements are belongs to the truss element, and here the first element, one side is fixed and second side is free, and the second element and this last end is fixed. So and this end is free. So this is a problem which is given in the problem. Apart this figure, there is some data is given. Here the distance between these two fixed end is called 40, and from here to here the horizontal distance is 30 mm. And similarly, the data is given in the question is given that the area of each truss element is given that 1 centimeter square, means that E1, that is called element 1 area is equal 1 centimeter, element 2 is also 1 centimeter square, and E is given that E is nothing but Young's modulus of the element 1 and element 2, both are same, that is given that 10 to the power of 5 megapascal, and specific weight is given. Specific weight is for element 1 and element 2, that is given that 7800 Newton per meter cube. So therefore the density can be calculated dividing the 9.81. You will get the 800.2 kg per meter cube. And here, if this is a problem, let us try to find out the what are the coordinates at each and every elemental nodal points. So this is a here there are the two elements are there. First element is first end is fixed, and let us say this as nodal point 1, and free end is equal, let us say it is a nodal point 2. So the nodal point 1, the coordinates assume that x1 y1, and which will be equal to the 0 comma 0. So means that it is starting from here. So and this horizontal distance is 30, and up to here it is a x is equal 30, and y becomes that the vertical distance 40. So at nodal point 2, the coordinates are belongs to x2 y2. The x2 y2 values are 30 comma 40. Similarly, let us assume that this is a nodal point 3. At nodal point 3, the coordinate values are x3 y3. So here the x3 becomes that 0, but only y3 is existing, that is equal 40 mm. So these are the coordinates. So let us what is that, recalling the again that x1 y1 is equal 0, x2 y2 is equal 30 comma 40, and x3 y3 is equal 0 0.0 comma 40. So these coordinate values are very important to find out the each and every element stiffness matrix as well as a global stiffness matrix. So without knowing this elemental coordinate nodal coordinate values, it is very difficult to find out the stiffness matrix for the element 1 as well as element 2. So if you know this only, then only it is possible to find out the stiffness matrices as well as global stiffness matrix. So let us try to solve the stiffness matrix for the two elements. So in the finite element methods, so we are going to take this as a domain. So now we are going to discretize this domain into the two elements, element 1 and element 2. So need to be find out element 1 stiffness matrix and element 2 stiffness matrix. Then after finding that, K superposition 1, that is called first element stiffness matrix, and K superposition 2, that is called second element stiffness matrix. After getting these two, you need to be club these two individual element stiffness matrix to get the global stiffness matrix. And similarly for mass matrix also, you need to be calculate the first element mass matrix, similarly second element mass matrix. Once you get the first element mass matrix as well as second element mass matrix, then you have to be club these two element stiffness matrix to get the global mass matrix for this entire structure. Because the entire structure having a two element, we discretize this into a two element, element 1 and element 2. This is a very important. So for two elements, we need to be find out what is a K1, what is a K2. Similarly, what is a M1, what is a M2. So in the last unit also, we calculated that the how to find out the element stiffness matrix as well as global stiffness matrix. Let us recalling those things here. So first, let us take that element 1. It has the coordinates of 1, 2, and it has the coordinate values x1, y1 at nodal point 1, x2, y2 at nodal point 2. So at nodal point 1, x1, y1 is 0, 0, and at nodal point 2, x2, y2 is equal to 30, 40. So if you know this one, therefore it is possible to find out that what is the cos theta 1 as well as sin theta 1. So let us say that the cos theta 1 is equal to C1 and sin theta is equal to S1. So if it is having a theta with respect to horizontal, let us assume that theta 1 is equal, it is having a angle with respect to horizontal, that is called theta 1. So therefore cos theta 1 and sin theta 1 you need to be find out. So cos theta 1 nothing but if you form the right angle triangle here, therefore cos theta is equal opposite by the adjacent by the hypotenuse. So adjacent is equal, that is nothing but it is equal to the x2 minus x1. So here if you frame this triangle, so therefore you will get the adjacent side is equal to the, it is the x2 minus x1 and divided by the hypotenuse is nothing but under root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. So you know that x1, x2 as well as y1, y2, therefore so every element is known in this formula. Therefore, it is possible to find out the cos theta 1 that is equal to the C1. So therefore, C1 will get that 0.6. Similarly, the sin theta S1 also you will going to get that 0.8 because sin theta 1 is nothing but opposite by hypotenuse. So the opposite is nothing but y2 minus y1 and divided by the length of an element. So you will get the 0.8. So once you know the cos theta 1 that is called C1 and sin theta 1 that is called S1. Therefore, you have to be calculate the first element stiffness matrix. The first element stiffness matrix is given like this. It is given that the K superposition 1 it is for truss element is equal to the Young's modulus 1 and area of first element divided by the length of first element into this 4 by 4 matrix. The 4 by 4 matrix is defined as C1 square that is equal to cos theta 1 square and C1 S1 means that cos theta 1 sin theta 1 minus C1 square and minus C1 S1 and similarly the second row C1 S1 S1 square minus C1 S1 minus S1 square and third row minus C1 square minus C1 S1 minus C1 square C1 S1 and last row minus C1 S1 minus S1 square and C1 S1 S1 square. In this formula, the Young's modulus is given in the problem and the area is also given in the problem. The length is nothing but it is equal to the x2 minus x1 square plus y2 minus y1 square and this whole under root. So you will get the length of an element. So everything is known. So once you substituted in this one, then you will get the K superposition 1 that is called K superposition 1 is equal to the E1 A1 divided by the L1 that is called C1 square of this matrix can be getting that E is given that it is equal to 10 power 5 and the area is given that it is equal to 1 centimeter square and you will get the 1 into 10 power minus 2 whole square. So here the E1 is given that it is in the 10 power 5 into 10 power 6. Let will see that the given data. So E1 is given the 10 power 5 megapascal. So 10 power 5 megapascal is defined that 10 power 5 into mega is equal to 10 power 6 into area is equal to, it is given that 1 centimeter square. It's converted to the meters meter square, therefore 10 power minus 2 and whole square, and divided by the length you should convert it to meters, that is equal to 50 into 10 power minus 2. Okay, so this is a EA by L1. So therefore C1 is known as well as S1 is known. C1 is known that 0.6 and S1 is known that 0.8. Substituted in this formula, then you will get the element stiffness matrix like this. After simplification, then you'll get the 10 power 7 of this 4 by 4 matrix. And here, once you get the 4 by 4 matrix, then the next very important thing is you need to give the row numbers and column numbers. So why? Because a this will be helpful to simplify the assembling process. So to simplify that assembling process, you need to be give the row numbers and column numbers. So how you are going to give the row numbers and column numbers? We are familiar how to give the row numbers and column numbers as well as how to form the assembling matrix. But anyhow, let us repeat again. So this is the element stiffness matrix for the first element, that is equal nodal number 1 to 2. But at nodal point 1, let us say that uh, it has 2 degrees of freedom. So in the x direction, it has a displacement as well as the y direction, it has a displacement. Let us say in x direction, it is a u1 and y direction, it is called v1. Similarly, at nodal point 2, x direction, let us say u2, y in y direction, let us say it is a v2. And similarly, at nodal point 3 also, let us assume that the x directional displacement is equal to u3 and y directional displacement is equal V3. But we are now restricted to the element 1 stiffness matrix. Let us consider nodal point 1 to 2, and 1 has a U1 V1 and 2 also having the U2 V2. So therefore, the row numbers can be defined with a nodal displacement. First nodal displacements are U1 V1 and second nodal displacement are U2 V2. So specify the first row with a U1 and second row with a V1 of the first nodal point. Similarly, the third row and fourth rows must be specified with the second nodal point displacement, that is called U2 V2. So this is the row numbers. Similarly, the column number, first column is indicated with the U1, second column is indicated with the V1, and third column is indicated with the U2, and fourth column is indicated with the V2. So this indication means that this 0.75 say that the element range of this matrix say that it is a U1 by U1. Similarly, this minus 0.96 say that it is a range of a U2 row and V1 column. So this will be helpful to forming the assembly stiffness matrix. So by this way, we'll know that each and every element range. So for this purpose, we need to give the row numbers and column numbers. So this is for the first element. Similarly, need to be find out the second element stiffness matrix. For second element stiffness matrix is also the formula is given that the K superposition to here it is 1, it is superposition to is equal n smallest 2 into A2 divided by the L2. But here it is all are specified with the 1. Just we have to change with this 1 with a 2. So E2 A2 divided by the L2 and C2 square and C2 S1 minus C2 square minus C1 S2 square C1 S2 and S2 square minus of C2 S2 minus of S2 square minus of C2 square minus of C2 S2 and C2 S square and C2 S1 S2 sorry, and last row is going to minus C2 S2 minus S2 square and C2 S2 and S2 square. This is a 4 by 4 matrix for the second element. Now our aim is need to find out the what is a cos theta 2 as well as sin theta 2. So here the cos theta 2 is represented with the C2 and sin theta 2 is represented with the S2. Here the theta is equal to 0, therefore the cos theta 2 can be defined as x3 minus x2 by length of an element. Here the length of element, that is called second element, the length is because this is the only horizontal member, therefore theta 2 is going to be 0. Theta 2 going to be 0. So if theta 2 going to be 0, therefore only need to be find out the cos theta, then sin theta becomes a 0 because there is no vertical axis. So only horizontal is there. So therefore cos 2 theta can be defined as it is the ratio of the x2 minus x1, x3 minus x2 divided by the length of a member. So here length of member is equal to 30 and x3 minus x2. Here x2 is equal 30 as well as x3 is equal to it is a 0. So minus of 30 divided by 30 you will get the minus 1. So this is a C2 and S2 is become the 0. So once you know the C2 and S2, substitute in the K2, therefore you will get the elemental stiffness matrix for the second element. So this is a second element stiffness matrix you will get here 10 to the power of 5 into 10 power 6. This is the Young's smallest for second element into area that is called 1 into 10 power minus 2 whole square and divided by the length of an element that is called 30 mm into it is sorry 30 mm is given into 10 power minus 3. This is the minus 3, not minus 2, it is minus 3. So this is the K superposition to AE by L into 4 by 4 matrix. Once you substitute that and C2S2, you will get the 1 0 minus 1 0 0 0 0 0 minus 1 0 1 0 0 0 again 0 0. So this is a 4 by 4 matrix. Once you simplify, you will get the 10 power 7 of 3.330 minus 3.330 0 0 0 0 0 minus 3.330 3.33 0 0 0 0 0. Now you need to be give the row numbers and column numbers. Now let us go to the this element 2 having the nodal number 2 comma 3. So element having a nodal number 2 comma 3. So therefore 2 having a displacements are u2 in the x direction and v2 in the y direction. Similarly here nodal point 3 also u2 and v2. So therefore there are the four displacement that is called u2 v2 and u3 v3. So specify the row numbers are u2 v2 and u3 v3 for the 4 by 4 matrix. Similarly the column numbers also you should be mention that u2 v2 as well as u3 v3. So means that they say that the minus 3.33 say that it is the range of the range of an element in this matrix is called u3 by u2. So for this purpose, because we need to know that each and every element range, once you given the row numbers and column numbers, it is very easy to identify the each and every element range. So once you get this one, therefore you need to be go for the assembling matrix. So to assemble this one, we need to know the K1 and K2. So now we completed the calculation of the K superposition 1 as well as K superposition 2. That is called first element stiffness matrix, second element stiffness matrix. Once you get the first element stiffness matrix, second element stiffness matrix, you need to be find out the what is the global stiffness matrix. So to calculate the global stiffness matrix, we need to construct the grid. So to construct the grid, so first you should know the what is the range of the grid and what is the stiffness matrix range. So the global stiffness matrix range is always depending upon the number of nodal point into the degree of freedom for each nodal point. Here number of nodal points are 1 and 2 as well as 3. So there are the 3 nodal points are there, but each nodal point is a 2 degree of freedom. So therefore 3 into 2 becomes that it is equal 6. So therefore you will get the global stiffness matrix as the 6 by 6 matrix. Once you know the range of the 6 by 6, then you should construct a grid and give a row numbers and column numbers. The row numbers are given like this as a first nodal numbers are u1 and v1, the displacement. Second nodal number displacement are u2, v2, and third nodal number displacement are u3, v3. So this is the 6 rows. And similarly, the 6 columns also indicated that u1, v1, u2, v2, u3, v3. So this method we are familiar how to do that something, but anyhow we repeating here. So once you know this one, then take the K1 and put down in this global stiffness matrix. Similarly, after that one, you take the K2 and substitute here, then you will complete the global stiffness matrix. We are familiar how to do the global stiffness matrix. So now, and let us assume that we completed that the global stiffness matrix with a 10 power 7 into 6 by 6 matrix. So here, this is called as a global stiffness matrix. So once you know the global stiffness matrix, now we need to be focused on to the global mass matrix. We need to focus on to the global mass matrix. So why we are going to consider the global mass matrix? Because we know that the governing equation is for the free vibration undamped problems. The governing equation would be the k minus lambda m into u must be equal to the 0. So this is the governing equation for solving the dynamic problem, the dynamic analysis problem. The dynamic analysis problem is falls under the free vibration undamped case. So this is a case, free vibration undamped case. Therefore, we are going to use the k minus lambda m into u is equal to 0. So just right now we know that what is the global stiffness matrix. Now we need to find out what is a global mass matrix. So let us focus on to the global mass matrix. So to calculate the global mass matrix, we have to be calculate the what is the element 1 mass matrix, what is the element 2 mass matrix. Here I'm going to use the lumped mass matrix. Okay. So here, uh, so here the mass matrix formula for this truss element is given that rho A into L by 6 into this 4 by 4 matrix, that is called 2 0 1 0 0 2 0 1 1 0 2 0 0 1 0 2. So this derivation already we saw in the last previous classes. So using this mass matrix, now we are going to calculate the first element mass as well as second element mass. So once you get the first element mass matrix, second element mass matrix, you need to be club these two M1 and M2 to get the global stiffness matrix similar to the global stiffness matrix. Similar to the global stiffness matrix. So let us see that. So first element mass matrix, the formula is equal to rho A L by 6. So we need to know that what is the rho 1 because it is common for the first element and second element, that is know that 800.2. That rho is common for rho 1 and rho 2. And similarly, area is also common for the element 1 and 2. It is given the 1 centimeter square. And the length we calculated in the previous slide what is L1 as well as L2. So the L1 is equal 50 into 10 power minus 2. L2 is equal 30 into 10 power minus 2. So this is the L1 and L2, the length of an element, length of first element as well as length of second element, and divided by 6, no problem. So remaining matrix is only the numbers matrix. So there is no need to worry about those things. Only we should know what is a rho, what is a E, what is a LE. So once you know this one, then it is very easy to calculate the mass matrix. See here, just corrected it. Here we are going to use the consistent mass matrix formula. So this is called as a consistent mass matrix formula. The consistent mass matrix is here we are going to use calculate the M1, M2. So the M1 will get like this 133.36 into 10 power minus 5 0 0 5 0 0 10 0 5 5 0 1 10 0 0 5 0 10. So this matrix we obtain after substituting the rho A L into the mass matrix formula. And now here also the very important one is you should give the row numbers and column numbers. The first row numbers is indicated with the first element, first nodal point displacements, that is called U1, and second row is indicated with V1, and third row indicated with the U2, and fourth row indicated with the V2. And similarly need to be calculated the second element mass matrix. So here the second element mass matrix is defined as rho 2 A2 L2 by 6. Here rho 2 rho 1 must be equal to the same, that is equal to 800.2, and area 1 area 2 is also equal to 1 centimeter square, and L2 is equal to 30 into 10 power minus 2, the length of a second element. So everything is known, just to substitute into the formula, then you will get the second element mass matrix is 133.36 into 10 power minus 5 into this 4 by 4 matrix. So here the 4 by 4 matrix is 6 0 3 0 0 6 0 3 3 0 6 0 0 3 0 6. Now you need to give the row numbers and column numbers here also. The row numbers and column numbers are specified as nodal number 2 having the U2 V2, nodal number 3 having the U3 V3. So therefore give the row numbers as U2 V2 as well as U3 V3. Similarly, column numbers also U2, V2 and U3, V3. So once you know that the mass matrix for the first element and the second element mass matrix need to be clubbed this M1 and M2 to get the global mass matrix, and the procedure is similar to the global stiffness matrix. So once you club the M1, M2, then you will get the global mass matrix that is equal 133.36 into 10 power minus 5 into 10, 0, 5, 0, 0, 0, 0, 10, 0, 5, 0, 0, and 5, 0, 16, 0, 3, 0, 0, 5, 0, 16, 0, 5 0 0 3 0 6 0 0 0 0 3 0 6. So this is a mass matrix. This is global mass matrix having a range of 6 by 6. So at this point of time, we know the global stiffness matrix, we know the global mass matrix, but we don't know what is the lambda I, we don't know what is the displacement matrix. Now let us focus to find out what is the lambda values, because we know this has a governing equation for the free vibration undamped dynamic analysis case problem. Here the problem is a truss having a two different element, and in this one we calculated that global stiffness matrix and global mass matrix. Now the next step is we need to find out what is the lambda I. That is nothing but omega square. So we need to be find out the lambda. So means that we have converted this free vibration undamped equation converted into the eigenvalues and eigenvectors. So if you converted this into the eigenvalues and eigenvectors, the equation can be converted as det of k minus lambda m into u must be equal to the 0. Det of k minus lambda im into m into u is equal 0, where k is equal global stiffness matrix having a range of 6 by 6, and where lambda is equal, it is a constant, and we need to be find out these constants, and where m is equal global mass matrix, it also having the 6 by 6. So if you multiply with this constant with the 6 by 6, you will get the lambda I into m as a 6 by 6 matrix. So 6 by 6, k is equal 6 by 6, and lambda I into m is 6 by 6. So therefore k minus, that is equal 6 by 6 matrix into the minus of 6 by 6 matrix, you will get the 6 by 6 matrix. Then after that you do the determinant of this and equal to 0. So therefore you will going to convert the, you will going to get the lambda values, means that only unknown is equal to the lambda. Why? Because see here what happened to the u is called as a, it is a global displacement vector. This global displacement vector is having the u1 v1 u2 v2 u3 v3 as a column matrix. So then you can send this to the other side, you'll get that 0 into something will be 0. So therefore det of k minus lambda m must be equal to 0. So now if you convert like that, then it is the case of the eigenvalues as well as eigenvector problem. So let us try to see here. So before applying the eigenvalues and eigenvector, let us try to simplify this 6 by 6 matrix into the sum of the reduced range. So how we are going to reduce this 6 by 6 matrix? So let us recalling the figure. So in the figure, the nodal point 1 is fixed as well as 2 is free and 3 is fixed. So at nodal point 1 is fixed means it is going to be arrested the displacement. So means that in x direction it is arrested as well as y direction also arrested. So if it is arrested means the u1 v1 must be equal to the 0. Similarly, at nodal point 3, it is arrested x directional displacement as well as y directional displacement. Means that u3 v3 also 0. So means that the boundary condition in this problem or the u1 v1 u3 v3 is going to be 0. So means that the four boundary conditions are there. Four boundary conditions are u1 v1 as well as u3 v3 are going to be 0. If u1 is 0, we know the elimination process